Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Boxiest, and today we're going to continue the What If series. What if events had gone differently? And in this What If, we're going to change the history of Cobra Kai. What if Kenny was the first Cobra Kai student in Season 1? So in this timeline, the events of Cobra Kai Season 1 would still happen, Johnny would still be at the convenience store, and in this timeline, Kyler and his friends would be messing with Kenny, and Kenny would be alone, and much like in the original timeline, Johnny would step in to save him, so Johnny would still fight off Kyler and his friends, Kenny would be impressed by Johnny, those events would continue, Kenny would go home, and he would tell his mom and Sean about Johnny, and how he saved them, but Sean wouldn't be impressed. Season 1 would continue, Johnny would still reopen Cobra Kai in this timeline, he would still get the idea from Daniel, but he would have no students, so Johnny would still make flyers, and he would still hang them up around the valley. Kenny would see one of the flyers, and he would recognize Johnny from the flyer, so Kenny would want to join Cobra Kai in this timeline. So Kenny would show up at the Cobra Kai dojo, and Johnny would recognize Kenny, so Kenny would join Cobra Kai in this timeline, and he would be Johnny's first student. Johnny would teach Kenny the way of the fist, he would teach him to strike first, strike hard, and show no mercy. Kenny would start to get the hang of karate, and he would use his speed to his advantage. Kenny would start to gain some confidence, and some of the kids from Kenny's school would start to join. Kenny and Johnny would start to form a bond. Daniel would still find out that Johnny had reopened Cobra Kai, but since Johnny didn't mess with his billboard in this timeline, Daniel and Johnny wouldn't have a rivalry. Kenny would start to be more aggressive, and Sean would start to see the effect Cobra Kai was having on Kenny, and he wouldn't like it. So Sean would show up at the Cobra Kai dojo, and he would confront Johnny. Sean would ask Johnny why he was teaching Kenny to be aggressive, but Johnny would say it was the way of the fist. Strike first, strike hard, no mercy. But Sean would say that was the dumbest thing he's ever heard, and he would tell Johnny that Kenny was a good kid. Since Robbie never saw Miguel and Johnny, Robbie would show up at Cobra Kai in this timeline, and he would join, and Johnny and Robbie would start to rebuild their relationship. Season 1 would continue. Cobra Kai would still compete in the L Valley, but in this timeline, they wouldn't make it as far. Only Robbie and Kenny would make it to the semifinals. Xander Stone would defeat Kenny, but Robbie and Xander would fight in the finals, and Robbie would defeat Xander, so Robbie would be the All Valley champion, and Johnny would be proud of Robbie. Grace would still come back in this timeline, and he would become another sensei at Cobra Kai. Many students would want to join Cobra Kai, and Kenny and Robbie would start to have a bond. Kenny would continue training at Cobra Kai, and Season 2 would continue. Kenny would still catch one of Sean's friends stealing from his parents, and Kenny would still confront him, so Sean's friend would want to attack Kenny, but in this timeline, Kenny would be able to fight back, and he would defeat Sean's friend. So in this timeline, Sean wouldn't go to juvie, and Season 2 would be pretty uneventful, and that is where I'm going to end part 1. Thank you guys for watching. What do you guys think would have happened if Kenny was the first Cobra Kai student during the events of Season 1? Let me know in the comments below. YouTube lets me know that the majority of you are not subscribed, so if you guys could subscribe, that would be much appreciated. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. And I'll see you guys next time.